There came a point with Meiomi where we hit a ceiling. We had to make a decision. We were either going to be in this for the long haul, and we had to increase our infrastructure and really, double down on everything. The simple way to describe it would be our blending tanks. Our last blend that we put together for Meiomi Pinot Noir was about 2.2 million gallons in one homogeneous blend. Largest blend we've ever done, and it was a massive undertaking on one site, and then bottled it. We were looking at putting in 500,000 gallon tanks so that we could effectively blend as the vintages went on. The other option was that we sell the brand to a buyer that was looking and had been kind of hounding us for this brand. Yeah, do I love growing a brand? It's a heck of a lot of fun, but I think there's a level that you get to with a brand where it becomes just this monster and you're just continually feeding the beast. So the phone rings one day, and it's a good friend of mine in the wine business, and he tells me he had sold a brand about a year or 2 years prior, and he tells me the guy that brokered his deal wants to talk, and he just said it's just a beer, nothing else. Well, I said, yeah, sure, let's do it. So we met in Yountville and had a beer together, all three of us, and my friend leaves, and so I'm left with this M&A guy, and great guy. We chatted for a while, and he told me what he was up to, and he was representing Constellation. And they had seen Meiomi come up as an opportunity as an acquisition. And immediately the answer was no. And we had continued talking for a while over a period of 6 months, and just kind of became friends. And the answer was always no. The reason for that was that I was having a blast building this brand. I felt that it was a huge opportunity going forward, and it was still in a way in its infancy. It was still a discovery brand. Many people hadn't heard about it yet. Finally, about 2 years down the road or so, we start talking about kind of how the whole thing works. And you have the multiple against EBITDA and whatever else. And I said, all right, we'll let you see some basics on our financials. So he took a look at it, and all of a sudden this number came out. And it wasn't the number that we ended up getting. It was much lower than that, because we said no again. So all of a sudden we're sitting here, we're thinking, okay, this brand is obviously something special out there. And to me it was just, we were just building a brand. We weren't trying to set the world on fire, but fortunately we did. We continued growing it, and the earnings continued to rise, and the multiple stayed the same, and we ended up moving through the process. It was about a 4 or 5 month process, and the dollar figure was much higher than I would have ever expected. It was something we couldn't say no to. Eventually it became clear that the buyer was Constellation, and they had more of a mechanism for how to come up with a multiple. And the reason for a lot of their financial decisions are based more on the fact that they're a publicly traded company. They need to justify an acquisition, which I completely understood. So we settled on a multiple, and then it was just a function of inventory and EBITDA. And it was as simple as that. I felt that the mechanism we came up with was a fair and equitable deal for both of us, and it made all the sense in the world. And I still felt like we were getting a very good deal. So we went forward with that, regardless of what the EBITDA was on the closing date. We decided that that was the mechanism, and we'd move on from there. Could we take the brand to where Constellation brought it? Absolutely not in the time that they've done it. And that's when these large guys, they're more equipped to do these things. That's what made sense to me.